This segment of DelmarvaLife is brought to you by TidalHealth.
It's one of the most often overlooked aspects of well-being, and it's one that can have a profound impact on your day-to-day life. I'm of course talking about mental health, and May is Mental Health Awareness Month, a time to discuss issues openly and discuss aspects of mental illness. And here to help us sort this out today is Edwana Cotman, and Edwana is a clinical supervisor of outpatient services for TidalHealth. We also have Dee Copeland, and Dee is clinical supervisor of behavioral health with TidalHealth's emergency department. Welcome, ladies.
Hi.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here today. So, why is it important to have this whole month dedicated to talking about mental health?
Well, first of all, the month of May was dedicated for Mental Health Awareness Month back in 1949 by the United States Congress because they found that an overwhelming number of veterans were returning home with mental illness after WW2, World War II. And so that month was set to raise awareness. And so it's continued throughout the years to raise awareness to the impact that mental health has on individuals, families, and communities.
Yeah. And so when we talk about mental health, we say it, I feel like, so often. What is it?
So mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social being. Mental health also determines how we interact and respond to others and how we deal with stress. There are a couple of components that go into our mental health makeup, including biological factors, life experience, family history as well.
Wow. And so what are the most common misconceptions when it comes to mental health that we should address?
Well, where do we start?
Yeah.
Some people hear the word mental health and like, oh, you must be crazy. Or sometimes people minimize the impact of mental health and they make these statements such as, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Some people think that therapy is a waste of time, like why do it? Other people still think that children and adolescents don't suffer.
Another misconception can be that persons that have a mental health condition are violent. And while that can be true, that is not typically the case.
So when somebody maybe thinks they have a mental health problem, an issue, when is the right time to seek help?
First of all, we all struggle with some sort of anxiety or sadness or depression. And so I like to explain to people that it's on a continuum. If we take depression, for example, it can range from a continuum of being sad to severely depressed. But we want to pay attention to what your baseline behavior is of your eating patterns, your sleeping patterns, your patterns with interacting with others. Once that starts to increase or decrease, and then these issues begin to impact your current functioning, and these behaviors going on for at least 2 weeks or so. Or it could be where you have thoughts of self-harm, or you begin to have delusions and paranoia. With those types of symptoms, you don't want to wait the 2-week period, but you want to seek help as soon as possible.
That makes a lot of sense. That's a good way to put it. So, and for loved ones of folks suffering through a mental illness or just through any type of mental health struggle, how do we best support those folks?
That's a very good question. And actually, right here in our community, we are actually partnered now with NAMI, the National Alliance of Mental Illness, and we will be having support groups for family members or friends of a person that may be suffering from a mental illness. That'll actually be held the fourth Tuesday of every month from 6:30 to 8 p.m. at our crisis center on Vine Street in Salisbury.
And speaking of resources, what resources does TidalHealth have for folks who might be in need?
Where do we start? Our service line is growing and we're so excited about it. To put it in a nutshell, we have partial hospitalization programs for children and adolescents. We have an acute inpatient unit for adults. And an acute inpatient unit for children and adolescents that's in the works.
All right.
We have a crisis center that's now open. It's attached to the outpatient clinic. That service is available 7 days a week. At this point in time, I believe it's from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
We have a ton of resources here.
Exactly.
I'm so happy about that.
Yeah,
that is
and,
awesome.
and if I could mention one more, that it's more of a national resource. You know how you have 211 and 911? Now we have 988. And that's the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline that individuals can call, text, or chat.
Edwana and Dee, thank you so much for being here today and sharing really, really important information.
Thank you for having us.
We're very passionate about what you do. All right, we'll be right back.